All right, Anthony on Air Podcast. We're back for another episode. Full panel today. J-Sabs, Frankie C are here with us. We're talking about the Jeffrey Epstein Cover Up. We're talking about the loss of Alex Trebek. And I'm going to make you cry when I tell you where he was on his last day. And we'll talk about who we think should take over for him. It's going to be very sad, the second part of the podcast today.
Great.
And then Fox News anchor is laughing at one of the conspiracy theorists challenging Fox News. Parler is exploding, the new social media app. We'll talk about that. And Cardi B, of course, to wrap things up with a little bit of a smile. So thanks so much for joining us. Let's hop right into the Epstein cover-up. So an ex-ABC News staffer is now suing Disney over the leaked Jeffrey Epstein tape. This news producer, she filed a $10 million lawsuit against Disney, claiming it falsely accused her of leaking the infamous video of anchor Amy Robach venting on a hot mic about her bosses killing a story to protect the now deceased Jeffrey Epstein. If you remember this, Amy Robach was on, and she was like, I can't believe we have all this information. We have Virginia Giuffre. We have all this stuff like just piled up against him. And for whatever reason, conspiracy theories run wild here, the cover up, they killed the story. So she was saying that on a hot mic, and that clip was taken and it was released. So Ashley Bianco, who was the producer on Good Morning America before she joined CBS last year, she was just fired by CBS after ABC executives allegedly informed CBS that she had access to that video, and then CBS turned around and fired her. It's kind of messed up, right? This poor girl.
I mean, if that's not to fuel, conspiracy theories and such, but if that's the way it happened, then that's fucked up.
Yeah. So Project Veritas was the one who actually published the video, which this Ashley Bianco said that she did not leak. Citing a Manhattan Supreme Court summons, the New York Post reported that Bianco accused ABC of defaming her. The summons said shortly after the video was publicized, defendants moved swiftly to find a scapegoat, and to that end, they knowingly made false accusations against Bianco. They further destroyed her career in the news industry and damaged her reputation. ABC News did not immediately respond for a request to comment. Bianco told Megyn Kelly in an interview on YouTube shortly after the incident, I did not leak the tape. I'm not the whistleblower. I'm sorry to ABC, but the leaker is still inside.
All right, so they fired her because she leaked some tape. Did we hear this tape?
Yeah, it's Amy Robach saying...
That's the one?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so... which is kind of messed up because really, like when you get inside the newsroom, there's only a few people that really have access to that, unless it's on like a satellite link, in which case people on the West Coast would have access to it, or anybody who can hack into that and grab any bit of information, which is not the most important. It's not like they're encrypting a news broadcast that's going out over the air anyway. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like that's unhackable. So who knows? But again, I think it's just odd why she was fired for leak. I mean, I understand they have rules, and even though I understand why ABC would inform CBS, but in this particular case, what was leaked wasn't like the worst thing in the world. She's trying to expose Jeffrey Epstein.
What I don't understand is leaked. I mean, leaked to whom? They're a news place, so they're the ones who get the leaks and broadcast the leaks. So who was it leaked to?
I should fill in. The video wound up on Project Veritas, and it's Amy Robach off the air. She thinks she's off the air, but she's on. She's got her microphone on. She's like in a commercial break, and she's complaining about the fact that ABC was killing the Jeffrey Epstein story. They would not let her go to air and report the story. And then that video of her complaining that the bosses killed the story was what leaked. And that was one of the initial things, besides what the Miami Herald was doing. That was one of the big things that caught fire on why isn't this Epstein story out there more, and why aren't more people talking about it? And here's the reason why. You have this huge corporation basically protecting Epstein by telling their journalists,
I wonder why.
yeah, not to talk about any of these stories. That's weird. And this is even more weird. Like, so if you're I get it. Like, and everybody has professional courtesies where you like let somebody know. Like, I've been in a situation where somebody that I worked with did something really bad. Okay. And she got let go.
Ooh, what?
Then she went somewhere else, and it was like the kind of thing where somebody kind of like had to say something to the other place and be like, hey, did you do like all your due diligence? Like, we were kind of like, I wasn't really involved in this, but my company at the time was kind of like, why didn't you even just give us a reference call or something? Like, you know,
that's what it could have been. I mean, if she was going for another job.
But she was already at CBS for a while. She was already at CBS for a while.
And
again,
then they called.
It's not like she leaked. It's not like she stole money or, you know, she harassed somebody or something. Like, she literally saw this protection of Epstein and decided to I'm not saying whoever leaked it allegedly, right? I mean, they're trying to like not protect Jeffrey Epstein here, and I feel like we've all been in that arena where you see somebody who does something morally right, even though it might be against the rules, and you kind of let them go with like a slap of the wrist or so, or they lose their gig and it's like, okay, that's enough. Like, we don't have to follow you around for the rest of your career, getting you fired from places.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, the only thing is we only have her side of it. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Right. I mean, was the story credible that they wanted to put out, and, you know, ABC just squashed it, or CBS, whichever the first one was?
I mean, it just seems weird. Like, even if Virginia Roberts Giuffre is a liar, you still, like, there's nothing wrong with putting her in an interview on television. Right. Like, it's her just claim. Weird. It's her claim versus the other claim. So it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like, it doesn't really make sense on why you wouldn't at least air those stories. Like, who's the person at ABC going, no, don't do the Epstein? Like, why not? What do you protect?
There's got to be some kind of, we got to hear from their side. Why did they kill the story? There's got to be some kind of explanation. And who would be the person that calls them out for it?
Yes.
How do
also,
we get their side?
As a final touch on this, big subpoena handed out. I don't know how effective it's going to be, but there was a subpoena in this Epstein case, and I'll tell you about it after. Hero Soap Company, proud sponsor of this episode. Best soap on the planet. I can't wait to take my shower with my Hero Soap Company each and every single day.
You don't take a shower every day. Come on. Don't lie to the viewers.
Yeah, we're in quarantine. That's like every other day. Come on.
True. But when I do use Hero Soap. You know, it's funny. I have like a massive like 6-month backup of deodorant because
I thought he was going to say something else. Go ahead. I thought you were going to say, whoa, you don't have to get that excited about the soap.
Just like the soap, by the way, you can sign up for a subscription and save 20% off using the promo code Anthony. I get my deodorant through a subscription, so I get it like I get like I don't know, whatever I get, and for all throughout the quarantine.
Please tell me you're not using deodorant now. You're still using deodorant, right?
No, I'm using deodorant. I'm just saying, all throughout quarantine, I wasn't using as much as I usually do. You know, because I wasn't like leaving the house. Like I do a little, I'd give it a run and then I was done. Like if I'm leaving the house, I give it a couple of, you know, I work on it a little bit. But in quarantine, I was just, you know, a little something here. Yeah. And they kept sending. My wife
and kids smell me.
I don't care if my wife and kids smell me. By the way, I wasn't doing anything either. It wasn't like I was outside like sweating or anything. I was just sitting around the house all day long.
You're gross, is the bottom line. Go ahead.
Have I told you we are accepting applications for new guest co-hosts? Everybody, send those reels on over.
Go ahead. Well, I hear someone else is going to be out of job January 21st, so maybe him.
Boom.
I could do it. Excuse me. Let me tell you about how you can save on a subscription. All right. Anyway, but it's a great company. If you buy a bar of soap, they send a bar of soap to the troops, which I love. They are veteran owned. Veterans Day is coming up, so let's honor our veterans. Grab some Hero Soap Company. Buy a bar or two. Try it out. If you like it, sign up for a subscription. Like I said, 20% off when you sign up using the promo code Anthony. Every time you buy a bar, they send a bar to the troops. And a little bit of the money they use to buy to help veterans get into homes without mortgages. And, of course, every bar you buy helps the podcast, helps us keep the cost of the podcast down. Jean-Luc Brunel was just subpoenaed. Again, let's give credit to the Virgin Islands. They're doing their own separate investigation, separate from the United States, and they are not stopping at all. So they've just subpoenaed Jean-Luc Brunel, which is kind of a big deal, but also not kind of a big deal, because I think if he doesn't really step foot, down in the Virgin Islands, he'll be okay. But if he's found or turns up anywhere, which he's basically been in hiding, he's been in contact with his lawyers, but outside of that, not much else. He'll have to show up at court.
If he's subpoenaed, he has to anyway, right? I mean,
well, it depends. If he's in France and they don't know where he is, it depends on what the French extradition,
right,
is. But they also are asking for information for two of the modeling companies, the Source Models and Identity Models, which have both been accused of helping lure young girls for Epstein. So there's a little bit more news on that right there.
Hey, keep those subpoenas rolling out.
2020 continued over the weekend with the loss of Alex Trebek, which everybody felt, right? Like, he's just one of those guys that everybody loves.
That was a tough one.
That was. And I actually knew who he was. Frank.
That's one.
It's one.
Do you know where he was when he passed?
Where?
I know that he was surrounded by his family.
Oh.
Supposedly, he spent his final hours with his longtime wife on a swing watching the horizon before he succumbed.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Why? Why would you tell me this now?
Not the sweetest thing you've ever heard, though. I mean,
Jesus Christ.
That is like tear-jerking, you tear-jerking bastard.
He's jerking what?
If I had to pick a way to go... By the way, I think Lou Reed subsequently went the same way. He was kind of like sitting out on his porch with his wife, and he just kind of closed his eyes, and that was it. Like, that's kind of like, that's how I want to go. I want to go on the porch swing, watching the sun go down or some shit like that.
Yeah, you got to get a porch swing first.
Oh,
it's true.
Let's get porch swings.
I'll be.
Or first you need a face.
I'd like to be on a porch swing, but reality for this Queens kid, I'll be on a folding chair on somebody's stoop somewhere.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So
Alex Trebek. What was weird is that I didn't realize that Alex Trebek and Sean Connery died a week apart.
I know, isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah.
That's so weird.
I know. We just did all our tributes for Sean Connery with all the SNL, Saturday Night Live, Jeopardy sketches, and then he goes too. What's crazy is he filmed a whole bunch of episodes through pandemic. And they took a break, and then they got back to it once it was safe for everybody. And so we'll still see him on television till about Christmas time.
Wow.
But then after that...
Are they airing new episodes now? No, right?
I don't know if they're airing them now, but they'll come... They should be coming back soon if they're not already airing them.
And I thought he was okay. I guess not.
I think this thing, he had gotten like really good news and then not so great news, and I think that's kind of the roller coaster that this thing just...
Yeah.
It doesn't friggin' stop. Cancer can suck.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Which leads me to, who do you think takes over for Trebek?
I don't know. I didn't hear about this. Let me guess. Ryan Seacrest.
Basically. You're right. Let me rephrase, Janine. Who takes over for Trebek after Seacrest passes? Because they'll definitely go to him first.
Is it going to him?
No, I don't think he could. I mean, maybe.
He's too young.
Seacrest. You need like a brainy type person. They're probably going to go with like one of the champions. Those three guys. I mean, what was the main guy? The one that
Ken Jennings. Yeah.
Ken
See,
Jennings.
Frank, that's two. Go ahead.
Did you pick him out of a lineup?
Oh my God. Frank thinks I'm this airhead blonde.
I do not.
Okay.
No, I just sometimes pop culture. It's there's a lot of things past pop culture like the 80s, 70s. You're up on the current stuff.
Oh yes.
What didn't she?
Better than I am.
What didn't she know that spawned all this all of a sudden?
I don't know exactly.
That's a good question. It was something with movies. I think we were mentioning different movies and Brandy. You never heard of the song Brandy?
Oh, that was a bad one, Janine.
But you look... here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Like old music, I'm not into.
Yeah, but...
I'm not. So, and also, I don't ever really know the names and the artist.
That's true. I'll give you that. But God,
that's my downfall.
The more
but
go ahead.
You put on a song from the 90s, R&B, hip hop, rap, I'll know every single word. Okay?
Right.
It's
cool,
weird.
I bet you won't.
It's weird because the more I get into like the more I get into like Spotify and stuff instead of like traditional like radio, I'm the same way. I'm losing context of like what the songs are called and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was never good with that.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for the next guy. I don't know what the hell.
What happened to the internet booster, Frank?
Yeah, he was fine Friday. What happened?
It's plugged in. It's literally 5 feet from me.
That's what she said.
The internet booster, it's all hooked up.
I'll say this, Frank.
Yeah.
I bet you on Friday, no, not Friday, Saturday, I was in an Uber and the guy had a CD. Yes, a mixed CD from the 90s. 3 songs. I knew every single word. That my husband and my 2 friends were like this.
That's a big
she know
flex.
every
For the love of God,
word?
stop singing.
That's a big flex.
That's that face.
Yeah. So
no, I feel bad for the next generation down. You got your kids. Because what happens is we grew up on our parents' music for the most part. And then, as we got a little older, we developed our own taste and we got our own music. But your kids, the next generation, is growing up on like Nickelodeon and all that like stuff that. I don't know what's going on here. All right, so you guys aren't playing your songs for them. You're playing their songs for them. You're playing like kids' songs.
That's not true.
I definitely play WAP.
Do you play WAP?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I am forcing Dave Matthews Band down my kids' throats.
Oh God, your poor kids. Damn.
But we used to, when we grew up, we heard different radio stations with different songs and music from our parents' generation. Yeah, you're still listening to your stuff, and if they listen to it, great. But for the most part, we didn't have radio stations and CDs, tapes of our stuff, of kids' stuff in the car.
That's
and stuff
true.
Like that.
You know what? You're right. You're right, Frank. I will give you that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just saying,
because,
we grew up with our parents' music.
We had to listen to what they were listening to.
Exactly.
Gloria Estefan. Whitney Houston.
Get on your
feet, and now it's reversed. Now you have to listen to what your kids are listening to.
Oh no.
I like seeing this. I like seeing Democrats and Republicans get along. This is a nice this is a nice thing. This is a nice thing to have.
Always get along.
But who do you think takes over for? So you say Ken Jennings?
I think Ken Jennings. So you got to go with a Jeopardy like that because that's how Trebek came into it, right? If he wasn't he just a contestant or something?
I don't know actually.
I think that's how he got it. I'm not 100% sure.
All right, so you're on Ken Jennings. Janine, what do you say? Seacrest? You just going with Seacrest?
I mean, he gets every show, so
I'm gonna
I
pick.
know he's in contract right now. Go ahead.
I'm gonna pick one right here, and I think I'm gonna win everybody over with this one. I hope at least. Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think, should do it.
That would be good. I think he might be busy, but maybe.
Right, developing a vaccine. No, he's good.
He's
he
good.
Probably doesn't even believe in vaccines, so okay.
Yeah.
What?
And I know for a little while there was some allegations against him, but I believe those were all proven false. I believe. I haven't heard anything about it in a long time. So
I haven't
even
heard it.
science guys trying to get that.
Yeah, I don't think nerdy guys could really do that. But anyway,
Oh, Bill Nye would be good.
Bill Nye would be good, I guess. Yeah, we don't really have like scientific-y standout people or like people who are like just uber famous for being smart.
Yeah, I mean, and if we do, they're busy running their billion-dollar companies.
Yeah. Andrew Yang might be a good one. He might be he's probably going for a gig in the new administration, but he's one of those like
probably
super smart
guys.
Who's
the guy that hosts Masked Singer?
Oh God.
He was in Drumline.
Do I look like a person who watches Masked Singer? Jesus. Oh, Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon.
I hate him.
Nah, he can't. He couldn't keep Mariah happy. A lot of stuff, he's not going to hope.
He's on the Masked Singer. Obviously, he cannot get Jeopardy.
Yeah, that's the last rung. If you lose America's Got Talent, you go down to the Masked Singer. You're one
Masked
day
Singer
away
is
from
popular.
Yeah,
I hate that show. That's like one of the worst shows ever.
I guess so. All right,
it's a good show.
Janine, do you want to tell us about whatever super spreader event that you were at in an Uber with you and another friend? Do you want to talk about that or no?
We went to Atlantic City this weekend on a last-minute whim.
That we weren't invited to, Frank. You didn't get an invitation.
We didn't get.
Yeah,
we got a picture of, hey, guess where I am?
Yeah.
This is a Trump voting only party.
Now, were you so upset that your candidate lost the election and you were like, I can't deal, I'm going to go down to Atlantic City?
Well, it's funny because I found out in the car who won. Like, I heard about it before, and then we were like, oh, he's definitely the winner. Although he didn't think so. Well, he's definitely not the winner.
He still doesn't think that he lost.
Yeah, he still doesn't think he is the loss, though.
Yeah. We might as well address that now as we talk about Parler, which is an interesting thing to talk about. But a couple of things that I learned from the comments over the weekend. One, I'd like to say hi to everybody watching and listening in Alaska because we have a lot of those people we learned.
Yes. I know, right? Sorry.
Just shit on an area and you'll find out exactly how many people that are from that area.
I'm from Alaska.
A lot of Alaskantonians.
We love you, Alaska.
Yeah. Or Alaskarers. I don't know what they call Alaskan people, but
Alaskans.
There you go. And also a lot of people think that the president is going to remain the president. I kind of came to that conclusion over the weekend. Now,
oh yes, me too.
I would say that out of the 70 million people that voted for President Trump, what would you say the number is of the people that hardcore believe that he's going to stay?
65 million.
You're an ass.
I was going to say 50, but okay.
I was going to say 10. I was going to say close to 10 million people are probably buying into this whole thing. And
it's unbelievable. I can't.
I just want to say, I think that he should fight for every little bit of whatever legal thing is ahead of him that he has access to. He should be able to pursue. He has that right to do that. However, I think that there is fraud and mistakes and accidents and whoopsie daisies and maniacal plots in every single election.
Mm-hmm.
And even in recounts, as we talked about previously, they don't really change the outcome, the results all that much.
Except for Gore Bush.
Except for that one. That was a mess and a nightmare. That was a knockdown, drag-out fight. Which this isn't really the same kind of thing, though. It's a little different.
I think he lost, and he needs to go home and stop crying like a baby. That's what I think.
Well, at some point, he's got to, again, look at this and say, even if I could swing 8,000 votes or 10,000 votes here or there, if it's not going to change the outcome of the election, and then, you kind of...
If it's close, then it's close.
Yeah.
That I agree with. Like in Georgia, they are recounting, correct?
There's going to be a recount
That's what
in
I saw.
Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is good, then great, but like I said, those recounts don't tend to swing a lot of votes the other way. It just doesn't really ever happen that way. So I'll say, like, again, if he feels the need to see this out, great. But the writing is kind of on the wall, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, we shouldn't let the TV networks declare our winner." Yeah, but we've let the TV networks declare our winner since there was TV. So I mean,
right, which is weird though too. Like, because some networks were calling states before other ones were.
Yeah, which you have every year, all the time. Yes. You have that. Everybody called Florida for Gore at first. I think he had it first, except for Fox News. Yeah. And I think maybe even Fox News went for it, but they were the first ones to pull it back.
Yes, that's what it was, because I was just reading about that too.
Because we're also entering into a time where the elections have never really actually been this close, which is kind of crazy. Which is why TV stations were able to call it so far, and this is why we trusted TV to make these predictions, because they were in line with everybody else's numbers. So it's like, just get it done. That was it. It was just, you did it that night and that was it. Now it's a little bit longer of a thing, but still, these are the most expert people we have on the scene predicting what this is going to turn out to be. So, like we said prior.
Yeah, but 2016 happened. Oh, it's going to be a big fraud. You'll see the fix. He wins. No, it's fine. Everything's good.
Yeah, but he was actually, but the polls reflected that. The news wasn't.
Yeah, the polls
reporting it
aren't the election.
No, they're not, because the polls look like there was going to be this big blue wave, which never really happened. In fact, the Republicans did better in the Senate than people were giving them credit for. So
there was a big blue wave in the White House. That's the only wave.
Which also hurts the president too, because you have a lot of these areas where they did not vote for President Trump, but they voted for the Republicans on the lower tickets, which doesn't help his.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't help his cause at all. So.
And then a big thing of mail-in ballots. That's why everything came in at the end.
Yeah.
The mail-in ballots were mostly Democrat, and he had to blame.
Yeah, no, I totally. He has
himself to blame.
Well, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. So, we'll see.
I think he lost, and he just can't handle it. So that's what I think.
I think there's a fair amount of that going on as well. And speaking of which, so enter Parler into the situation. So 2020 is a unique year because TikTok's taken off like never before, because people were home and were looking for something to do. And since the election, Parler, spelled Parler, is like racing to the top of the charts for apps. And essentially, it's a social media network free from any sort of censorship or social responsibility or whatever.
Okay, definitely download it.
Great, about time.
So I downloaded it, and I was like, oh, what's actually my wife was like, what's Parler? And I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, well, aren't you in social media? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't, I've never heard of this. I don't know how old it is, but I went on right away, and the top the top people that are on there are Mark Levin and Sean Hannity, and so it's obviously very skewed right wing, and right wing people who are unhappy with how the election turned out are now trying to push their people off Twitter and Facebook into Parler. And I'm super interested in this because, this is not, there was wiki threads for a little while. There have been like 4 or 5 attempts to mass exodus Facebook and Twitter for something else that doesn't that's more organic, if you will, and none of them have ever worked.
It's like trying to tell everybody to go to Bing instead of Google. It's just not going to be an easy sell. Some
of these things are just ingrained in people, and I don't know if there's anything that's going to take down Facebook. I mean, even if you have a pretty good chunk of people leaving for Parler, you still just only have those people. If you've noticed, Instagram grew through Facebook, and Twitter and Facebook had this very tight interlocking agreement from early on that they each kind of helped each other grow and expand. And I feel like we've kind of reached that period where, it's hard for other TV networks to get launched. Look at how Quibi failed. They put all this money behind Quibi, quick 10-minute videos, billions of dollars, and it's gone. And it was as simple as if you watched something on Quibi and you liked it, there was no mechanism to share that. There was no share button to say, look at all my Twitter people I like. Yeah, nothing. And that was probably one of the big reasons why they just flat out failed.
Damn.
So if you're posting or you're doing stuff on Parler, even if you're gathering an audience, even if you're connecting with people and talking with people, you're still in this little tiny bubble and not going to be reaching the mass amount of people that you need to reach. So it's always going to be a challenge for the newcomer.
So are you predicting Parler's going down in flames like Quibi?
I'm not. It's two different things. Parler's a social media network. Quibi was a streaming.
No, I know, but the fact that is it gaining traction?
It's gaining a lot of traction. I mean, obviously the downloads are through the roof, and it's number one. And obviously people are upset with the censoring, on Twitter and Facebook. But again, I would say that the people that feel disenfranchised, their biggest voice is President Trump right now, and there's no way that he leaves one of those platforms just to go on to Parler. Like if he tweeted right now, everybody, I'm leaving to go on to Parler, they would see a huge boost.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm.
But nobody would know what the hell the president was saying anymore because you're not going to get 300 million people in America to switch over. It's just never going to happen.
I think if Trump did that, if he went to Parler, he'd bring millions to Parler.
I think in order for Parlers to be a success right away, you would need 1,700 Donald Trumps to go and do it. And we only got one.
If he said, I'm leaving Twitter, he's got 80 million Twitter followers or something. If he said I'm going 90. To Parler, he'd probably get close to that number on Parler.
Yeah, I don't think he would. Yeah, I don't think that's my point. I don't think he would. And we have two Donald Trumps. We got Junior. But even still, like the case in point, Donald Trump's got 90 million followers almost. Donald Trump Jr.'s got 6 million.
Okay.
If Trump said he was leaving, I would.
Many on Donald Trump Jr.?
6.
Right.
If Trump said he was leaving, I probably, if he got up to 20 million in 6 months to a year, I'd be like, that's really good progress.
Right.
And that's people just don't want to do it. By the way, so I joined Parler because I joined all of them. I just get into whatever the next thing is. I'm on it because I want to check it out and see if it's different or if it's cool or whatever. And Parler sucks, to be honest with you.
Does it?
You have to fill out this recapture thing just to join. It didn't work for like 6 attempts. I had to keep doing it. Now I'm on, and there's no mechanism for me to connect and tell my friends that I'm on. Like, whereas when you join Instagram, they go, oh, here's all your friends on Twitter. Do you want to tell them that you're on Instagram now? There's all these natural things put into place. I mean, clearly there are some people, like I'm looking at this one guy that's got 146,000 views on something he posted 17 hours ago. So I'm not totally writing this off, but it's also, there's nothing here that's really interesting for me because I like generic social media. I want to see what everybody is saying, not just, this one side. I got this thing too from somebody that's like, Ant, you should publish the show on this other YouTube that was going on. So I'm like, all right. So I went to go check it out. I forget.
Different YouTube?
Yeah, it was like called like OpenTube or something. I forget what it was called exactly now, but I spent like 3 minutes on there. And again, it was like Hannity clips and this and that, and then it was like just like people in KKK masks. I'm like, okay, I can't. Like, I can't be around this.
I get that crap.
What the hell?
It's like so like weird, deep, and I'm like, that's just not,
That's not you.
That's not cool.
No, we do. We like to talk about stuff and entertain. I'm not here to move anybody's political beliefs or start a revolution or whatever. I don't care about any of that stuff. I mean, do I want to convert more people into Cardi B fans so they sing WAP outside of the White House? Yeah, of course. That everybody wants to do. But
that's this podcast's number one goal.
Basically,
it's my number one goal.
All right, let's bring in our Cardi B expert for that, J-Sabs. What happened there? What was that? What was this all? Why were they singing WAP outside of the White House?
I actually don't know the reason why.
Yeah.
But thousands of people were singing the lyrics.
Yeah.
And Cardi B posted it herself on Instagram. And there was a couple of different clips, and then I found some more. It was just amazing.
Is that the song of the day? Is that the sign of the times? Like WAP are we in the WAP period of?
Right. Exactly.
40 years ago, it was like give peace a chance. And then after that, it was
talking about some wet.
Right. Now it's this.
Macaroni in the pot.
Right. We went from give peace a chance to WAP.
Bob Dylan and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young and all these freedom songs.
Yeah. Now it's WAP.
I'm talking WAP. It's some wet.
Oh, shit.
I wish I could have been there just for that.
Yeah, well, you weren't there. You blew off all your closest friends and went. By the way, who was the friend that got the invite to Atlantic City?
Oh, yeah.
That nobody else got?
About?
Because
I'm not revealing that.
Let me share with the audience. Even Janine's brother and sister-in-law, who I would argue they are the closest with, based on the fact that they share parents, they were complaining about not getting an invite at all.
They did get an invite. They
allegedly.
They
allegedly.
Did.
Weren't you on your way there when you invited them?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't even leave my house yet.
Oh, okay.
And I said,
we're leaving now. You in or out?
It was nice because it was warm out.
Tell us about Atlantic City. What did you do? Like, what were the casinos weird? Did you even go to the casinos? What'd you do?
Oh yeah, I did. We stayed at Harrah's.
Mm-hmm.
My one complaint about them is that no restaurants were open during the day, and you could get a drink without having to get like the Cuomo chips. So that was good.
Okay.
So you got to get a drink from the bar. You were allowed to walk around with it. Then we went over to the boardwalk where the other casinos are. Walked around there, drank a margarita there. And then we went to Carmon's for dinner. Gambled all my money away.
Saturday was a nice day to walk around outside with a cocktail. It was gorgeous out Saturday and Sunday.
It was warm out.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
And AC too.
Yeah. We passed your favorite place, both of you guys, Bear Exposure. And believe it or not, people were waiting to get in.
Shut up. People were waiting to get into Bear Exposure?
It was like 2 people outside plus a bouncer.
Were they wearing masks?
In the middle of the day?
We probably passed them about... Oh, I don't even know what time.
Dinner time.
Goodness.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I think we should all definitely go.
To Atlantic
City. It would be nice. We could have all definitely gone if you
We could have, right? Now.
But did you have to? How was the boardwalk? Was the boardwalk packed?
There was a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about like?
You couldn't even get a table at the casino.
Is that right? There was a lot, and did everybody have to wear a mask?
Wow. Everybody had to wear a mask, and there was partitions between people. But I mean, like everybody respected each other, so.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I can't imagine that being a way to do it because you're all touching the cards, you're all touching the chips.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you got a piece of glass between you, but everything's being handed back and forth. It's weird.
It just,
I know.
It just sucks because it's like, God, I can't wait to get back to that feeling of being able to go somewhere and not have to worry about
You
it.
wouldn't. But see, here's the thing. There was, excuse me, hand sanitizers all over. There was.
Okay. I mean, that helps a little bit.
No, I mean, like, would I go? I would go, but I'm looking forward to the day where we can go and go back to doing
without wearing a
things
mask,
without having to worry about like all, just
I
be
wear
able
my mask
to
like this.
Hey, and shake people's hands and high five and.
Well, easy. I don't want to shake people's hands. That I'm okay with getting rid of that forever.
That's true.
Enough with the touching already.
I say we go to the Demolition Man when they do this, and then they go, like that, without touching.
Yeah, let's do that.
That could work.
What do you think about all these people that are turning on Fox, though? I find that like fascinating. Like Janine was just talking about this before we started the podcast. Like,
I mean, they're not going to lie and say that Biden didn't win. I know someone, again, that person who I follow, went off on Fox News this morning.
Like, people are mad at Fox News for reporting the news, basically. I mean, which I find pretty amazing. Is that it?
I mean,
yeah.
What else could it be? I mean, like, if anything happens, CNN just lines up against him, and Fox just lines up for him. So I think people are used to that. But as I said before, I think there are times where you just gotta like, if there was ever an attack, or if there's like serious real news, fighting over budgets and tax cuts and things like that. I don't love them choosing their sides and going with one narrative, but that's kind of what it's become.
Exactly.
When there's real actual news that impacts things, like an election, or, something goes wrong, or a fire, or whatever, a tsunami or a hurricane or whatever, it's time to put all that stuff down and just report the facts. And an election is one of those things, Fox has been interesting as all hell to watch lately. Here's a clip of one of the anchors, Sandra Smith. She's got one of the guests on that is all in for President Trump, talking about conspiracy theories and, just lining up with everything that he's been saying. And the reaction of Sandra Smith is just downright hilarious. Here, take a listen to this.
Whoever is decided to be the president, remember, just because CNN says, or even Fox News says that somebody's president, doesn't make them president. So I think everybody wants to know that this was done properly and legally.
What is happening? Like, Trace, we've called it.
And I think we have to look into every one of these concerns.
Yeah, and I think.
That was her going, what?
Good. I mean, it started. I'm sorry, but when Trump actually said, I have to discredit the media so that when they say negative stuff about me, no one will believe them. He actually said that.
Yeah.
So this is him. Hang on.
Go ahead.
My stupid internet. Hold on. Okay. So this is just everybody believing that, well, don't trust the media, trust me. I won, even though I have zero to do with counting ballots. I won.
Let me just say, this is what's scary to me. We need the media. Like, the country was built on the media. The purpose of the media up until the last 20, 25 years was to scrutinize and question the government. Right? Like, that's kind of what you want. You want people around going, why did you do this? Why did you do it this way? What happened to that? Like, that was kind of the thing. So this idea of, like, you can't trust the media, although I'm down with that to a degree. They've done a bad job. They've definitely
There's a lot of bias.
They've definitely done a lot of stuff that warrants not trusting them. Media is as important as right to bear arms and every other constitutional right that we have, because you need people. And the fact of the matter is that as messed up as things have gotten, you still have enough good journalists out there to do the job well.
Right.
Like,
exactly. There are thousands and thousands of journalists,
Right.
and one
right.
president.
And even though
there's other people in the government, but
right. But even though you have a lot of bias, if you have a Republican president, you hope that the Democratic media will scrutinize. And if you have a Democratic president, you hope that the Republican media will scrutinize. But this idea of like, you can't trust the media at all, you know, I get it.
it's dangerous.
I mean, to a degree. To a degree,
right.
Yeah, you have to have your own mind. But
yeah,
you have to, like, if the media tells you a flood's coming, you kind of have to go, yeah, okay, I'll go with what they say because I want to be safe. But if they tell you, something crazy, then you got to be able to say, all right, well, that's a little far-fetched.
Right.
You got to be able to think and be smart. But when they tell you stuff, it doesn't benefit them. You could see for yourself.
There's certain things, though.
You could see for yourself, though. It's not like they're making stuff up. They're using, most of the time, they're using the government's own words.
Right.
They're using their own words against it. They're like, the president said this today. And then the president will say, well, that's fake news. And then the media is like, no, you said it. We're just reporting what you said.
Well, I think there's certain instances where they twist things around.
There's times where they twist things around and it could be proven, and then that's even more detrimental to their cause. I wish that the media would be better at what they do. They definitely need to raise their game a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as you see, even with this election, Fox News was the earliest to call Arizona, even when they knew military ballots still had to come in, and
right.
There was a lot of things, but even still, like, everybody for the most part in the media comes to a consensus. You can basically trust that. Like, nobody's trying to steal this election from the president. It's not.
Exactly. He lost. End of story.
And this idea of, like, if the Democrats engineered this huge thing in Philadelphia or whatever the accusations are, if that's true, it will come out. Like, there's no way Fox News is going to be like, we'll pass on that. Like, that's not going to happen. Like, they're going to, if that's the case, they're going to cover it. So, like, you don't have to worry about it that much. Like, time will tell. But again, odds are there's probably nothing there, as what tends to happen with all. If you want, Google the day or two after an election, just go to the Google archives, go to the news archives. There's tons of stories about voter fraud and disenfranchised voters and voter suppression. It happens in every single election.
All over.
Yeah. So,
but not on the scale that it's not as widespread as everybody people think.
No, it's not, and that's it.
There's
And
no evidence of that.
people think our elections are crummy and out of date, but that's they're that way by design, so that you can't have mass fraud around, which is what we had talked about too. So
exactly.
Crazy times. I wonder though. I think about, like, how long until people start inching away from him. Republicans start inching, because it seems like Lindsey Graham kind of lined up behind him, and Chris Christie is kind of like, okay, but you got to kind of show us, which I think most people are saying, like, okay, if this is what you're hearing and seeing and thinking, but then you have to prove it. You have to show us in the numbers that you're talking about to make a difference.
Exactly. He just comes out and says something, and that becomes the story because he said it with no proof. He'll just say it, and then everybody's got to run with it.
Yeah, I'll be tweeting about this on Parler later on, so if anybody wants to follow me there.
No, you'll be parlaying it.
Is that what you do? Do you parlay on Parler?
I don't know. Made that
he
up.
has no clue. Come on, look at his face.
I just made that up.
I'm parlering.
They should own that. There's a freebie for you, Parler.
There you go, Parler.
Parlay something.
Check out our new line of merch. We're super excited about the Not Now. For the moms, we got a bunch of stuff, and for the dads, I guess. That's the Not Now line right there. We've got our silhouette line that's available, and of course our That's What She Said shirts, which is super popular for everybody, Office fans of the podcast, and
fans of Janine,
of course. You want it, like it says that's what she said, and it's just sprawled out all over your chest. So that's again what she said, and that's what you'd want.
Boom.
My favorite.
You want that all over your chest, so that's a good thing.
Yes, you do.
So there you go. It works double fold. Anything else from you guys?
J-Sabs.
Enjoy the night. It's nice out. Have a margarita.
By the way, can I just say I feels like the tide is turning for J-Sabs. A lot of people coming to Janine's defense in the comments when people take issue with Janine. I feel like Janine's fans are coming out.
Getting
a bit more vocal. Yeah, a bit more vocal. Feels like
I'll have to go read the comments.
Yeah, well, I think Parler is your place, Janine. I think that's where you're gonna be. I think that's where you're gonna find your fans. Yeah. I think that's where your people are living right now. Is the Parler.
That or OnlyFans.
Well, is that the next step for you?
I mean, if I don't get another job soon.
Well, there you go.
I apologize if you heard any knocking or banging. They're putting a roof over my head right now, so that's what that noise was. If you heard that throughout the pod, I apologize. And don't forget
to discount on J-Sabs OnlyFans if you put the code Anthony. No?
True.
You'll get 20% off the monthly subscription.
20% off.
20% off the knocking and the banging, I think, is what you're...
That's what she said.
Don't forget to check out the new Clips channel, too. We're just getting that all fired up, so go visit us. There's a link at the end of the video. You'll see that there. Links at anthonyonair.com. Have a great rest of your day, night, whatever, and we will catch you on the next episode.